Hello, and welcome to another episode of Revenue Growth AI. Today, I'm going to go into how you can use ChatGPT Code Interpreter to do data analysis part 2. The last video I did, I used my LinkedIn data. This video, I thought I'd use a more typical B2B data set where I'm going to look at lead to cash, basically. Looking at lead, MQL, conversion rate to opportunity, pipeline value, split it by persona, split it by industry, and split it by marketing lead source. So I'm going to go through 3 different things. First off, I'm going to show you how you can actually create a sample data set using ChatGPT, which is super cool and something I just taught myself how to do the other day. The second thing is how you can actually create really cool visualizations using Code Interpreter, actually not just getting answers back in text, but actually getting a visualization of a chart or something that you could add to a dashboard. And then the third thing is how you can uncover insights, talk to your data, and then get actions and next steps on how you can improve based on your data. So let's get into it. So the first thing that I'm going to show is you want to be using the model Code Interpreter. Not everyone has access to this. It's in alpha. If you're paying for ChatGPT Plus, you should be on the list to get it soon, hopefully. It's really cool. Basically, what it does is it's able to write code and then it'll be able to perform different actions for you. So it's really cool, and it's what I've been using for the data analysis. So here, the first thing I'm asking it is to create a data set of 1,000 B2B leads with an MQL data source, an opportunity checkbox that's only checked for 22% of the leads, so 22% of the leads progress to MQL. The opportunity value given to only those with the opportunity checkbox, an industry value and a persona value, and then give this in a downloadable CSV. So when I did this, this is what it gave me. This long list of just random data that I can use. So obviously, there's a lot of the privacy concerns with ChatGPT. So that's why I'm not using any of our clients' data, for example. I would never do that. So for now, I'm just going to use sample data to really test out the functionality here, because ultimately what I'm trying to figure out is this a specific use case that we're going to be able to use in the future when the tools that we already use bake this in? So think of the likes of Tableau, Domo, Salesforce, any data provider, any analytics vendor, any company that's got some kind of technology that has some kind of analytics or data component where you would want to be able to talk to that data, uncover insights, and have a conversation with your data to be able to understand what's happening. I could see this being probably one of the most powerful use cases for AI and this generative AI craze that's happening right now. So if this is kind of working now in this alpha state, I think it could be really powerful once we actually get to a real version of it. So I'm using this sample data. It gave me that awesome list of leads, and now I can start to talk to it. So the first thing here is I wanted to create a week-over-week line chart of conversion rate from MQL to opportunity. Do this as a downloadable HTML file. So this is an important thing to add. This is the code that it's writing to do this. Sometimes if you just ask for this, it will just give you the image in the chat interface. But I kind of prefer having this downloadable HTML file. So from this, when I click this, this is what I got. So you can see it groups the data by week. It's got the conversion rate week over week. You can actually zoom in to some of the data. I can hover over it. You can interact with it. Super cool. It was done in seconds, and you've got the trend here of conversion rate over time. So what I thought was kind of interesting was that there was this drop in conversion rate on May 8th. So down here, after it created the chart, I said, analyze what could be factoring the decrease on May 8th. So, I didn't even say decrease in conversion rate. I didn't really say anything like super specific. I said a decrease on May 8th, but it knew what I was asking, right? So it said the week of May 8th saw a decrease in conversion rates. Analyzing the conversion rates by source, industry, and percent of the week reveals the following. So it came up with a few different reasons why this could have happened. So it could have been that we're generally seeing a higher conversion rates from webinars, and there are no conversions from referral and direct mail. The manufacturing industry had the highest number of conversions, while technology had the lowest. Persona, the CRO persona had the most conversions, while the VP of marketing persona had the least. And then other insights here that it's giving. So super cool to see it understand what I was asking, for one. I didn't really give it a very specific prompt. and then give reasons. So this is kind of the kind of questions that people are asking all the time, right? You see a drop in conversion rates on your dashboard and you want to know why. You can click in and kind of dig in and pivot like data a million ways and try and figure it out yourself. Or you just write a 1-sentence question and boom, you've got a pretty good answer back. So really, really interesting. And I just love how this concept of just talking to your data, just like having this conversation to uncover insights. So the next stage here, create a conversion rate heat map with persona industry as the axis. Do this as a downloadable HTML file. So this is what I got. So now I can see industry and persona, which have the highest on average conversion rate. So you see health, any darker color has the higher conversion rate here. So healthcare, CROs, marketing manager, finance, technology, SDR. Obviously, you could question whether this sample data set makes sense, but when you look at it just from a functionality point of view, again, really powerful. I just ask a question and I've got the chart. So you could imagine one day maybe when you're trying to build a dashboard, you could just have a long prompt with all the different things that you want on the dashboard and you get a dozen charts exactly how you wanted them. So I'm going to go through, keep going through and show you more and more examples. I've got about, I think, 7 or 8 different charts, and then a really cool thing at the end where I show you how to get these charts and these insights into actions. So here we have the created chart of conversion rate over time by industry. So if we have a look at this one. So here I'm looking at conversion. It's similar to the conversion rate over time, but now I've got it broken down by industry. It's grouping it by week again. Here it's pretty cool because you can actually interact with this chart again and then have a look at compare. So if I want to compare tech over manufacturing, manufacturing versus finance, and I also want to look at these weeks. So it's really cool how you're even just using ChatGPT today, you're able to just create these interactive charts in seconds. Really cool. And then so moving down further, do a trend analysis on the conversion rate by industry. So this is where I looked at this chart and I'm going, okay, I've got a lot of lines here. Doesn't really make sense. I can't really kind of interpret anything out of this data. Like how often does this happen to you when you're looking at a Salesforce dashboard and there's just like so many lines and it's just got so many data points and you're just overwhelmed by that data and you don't even know what to do with it. And you wish you could just ask someone, what should I be seeing here? So it then performed a statistical analysis to see if there's any correlation. So if we look at the finance industry, there's not really a statistically significant trend, but there's a weak positive correlation. Healthcare, there's a negative correlation, but again, it's not really statistically significant. Manufacturing, again, weak negative correlation, but not significant. But then when we get to retail, so retail has a positive correlation, and then it is statistically significant and improving over time. And then for technology, it's not significant. So basically here, we're finding out that when we look at retail, obviously there is a statistically significant improvement in conversion rates over time. So if we analyze this data ourselves, like how long would it take you to get to that end result? Here, it probably took about 15 to 20 seconds for it to come up with this answer. And you've already got some insight into, okay, retail seems to be trending up and it actually seems to be a positive correlation with conversion rate in retail. We should maybe invest more in retail, uncover why maybe retail is performing better. Do more analysis around that. So again, moving down again, so help me analyze deal size, create a chart showing deal size by industry. So pretty simple chart here, deal size, average deal size by industry. You can see technology is a bit higher than the others and retail's on the lower end. And then I asked it to really, I'm trying to uncover the trends here. So going through kind of similar to the last one where we looked at if there was a significant trend with the different industries and conversion rate. And now we've got this breakdown of industry where it can impact deal size and conversion rate. So we already found out that retail is statistically significant, positive correlation. But for deal size, there isn't any significant trend with finance, nothing with healthcare, nothing with manufacturing, nothing with retail. There is a positive correlation that's mostly statistically significant with technology when it comes to deal size, and that's obviously what we're seeing here, where there's definitely a bigger average deal size for technology. Also calling out, they're based on a linear regression model, and kind of making sure it's got some caveats here. Again, a nice little ad here for ChatGPT to kind of make sure that it's explaining, the strengths and weaknesses of its analysis. I didn't even ask for that. Okay, moving forward. So the next chart is I asked for a box plot by industry. A few seconds later, you get this. So you can see kind of the deal size maximum by industry, the upper quartile, lower, median, and the minimum here. To be able to see, okay, like finance, when you look at the median, it's a lot higher than healthcare. The highest is manufacturing. Nice way to kind of analyze your different data to see different trends again across the different industries. And then I asked it to give me 3 bullet point analysis on this box plot, calling out specific industries. So it called out that there's some outliers, and there's there is a spread of deal sizes across industries. There's the median deal size differs. Retail, for example, has a higher median compared to other industries. So if we and then if we go into kind of a skewness, so the skewness of deal size distribution in each industry, for instance, the finance industry seems to have a right skewed distribution, indicating that there are smaller deals and a few larger deals. So a nice way to just get some insight into the deal size by industry. And again, I keep on coming back to this point where this is happening in seconds. Like, think how long it would take to go and do this analysis. And yes, if you have a data analyst who's really good at their job and like very experienced, they could probably do a way better analysis than just this, or with them partnering with AI and ChatGPT to kind of do that together. Think of the superpower kind of combination of that. But it is kind of opening up and giving kind of the general marketer or the general CMO or leadership the ability to do some more complex analysis than maybe they are used to doing. Or you can just be more simple and just ask very simple questions, direct questions of your data, and get that answer back immediately without having to sift through 25 dashboards and 100 different reports. So then I just moved on. So what are the best performing marketing channels in terms of deal value and conversion rates? So I came back with this table here with the webinar channel generating the highest total deal value among all sources. So that is here. Web search channel has the highest conversion rate among all sources. So here with the 26%, and it gave this little explanation here. So they suggest that webinars are most effective in generating high value deals, while web search is most effective in converting leads into opportunities. However, it depends on the audience, the nature of the product, and this is where you can maybe dig in. Show me, I don't do this in this example, but show me webinar by persona, show me webinar by industry. Are there specific industries that are engaging with webinars the most, where it turns into a higher average deal value? These are all questions that you can just keep on digging into in natural language without having to go, okay, how do I build the Salesforce report to do this? Do I have a dashboard in Domo that helps me look at this? Should I get my data team involved? Do I have to message ops? Who do I get to kind of build this report for me? Just digging in, just with a simple chat interface that everyone knows how to use. Are there any statistically significant trends in this marketing channel data? So then it came back with a few here. So email campaign, there's a positive correlation, not massively significant. Same with web search, but with a negative correlation, but not massively significant. So basically there's not like a huge correlation between the lead sources and conversion rates, But obviously this is sample data. You probably would find in most companies there is probably a pretty strong correlation. So, take this with a pinch of salt. This is just completely made up data. So it might not be, coming up with a trend that probably would exist in the real world. So here I just wanted to go through some different visualizations that you might use, you might not use, but just to show the different capabilities here. So the first one, a trend analysis for deal value, here with plotting each of the deal values by the different weeks and the trend over time. The next chart, a diverging bars report of conversion rates by source, showing you it's a nice way to visualize like the differences and what is actually proving to improve conversion rates. We already saw earlier that web search does have a correlation with improved conversion rates. A tree map of MQLs by source. These would be, kind of split up more and kind of like different size squares if there was a bigger difference. But obviously with my sample data, it kind of chose like almost the same amount per source here. You click into it, but it doesn't really do a ton there. A week over week stacked line chart of MQLs by source. So here we're kind of similar to what I was looking at before, MQLs over time, but we're just stacking the line chart and we're doing it by source. And again, you can remove and add. Calendar heat map, week over week group by source. Kind of cool, showing where you've had like the biggest jump in MQLs from a particular source in a given week. So, back here in this week here, April 17th, big jump up in webinar MQLs here, email campaign, and there, yeah. So that's all the visualizations. There's so many different ways that you could build on that, come up with different visuals, come up with different ways to pivot the data and trying to come up with a meaningful chart to help explain different things that you're looking into with the data. But that's like an overall quick summary of the different types of charts and different ways that you can interact with ChatGPT Code Interpreter to get that data analysis. Like I said, kind of in the conversation, be a bit careful with how you're using your company data in here. I would probably not use it. For now, if you want to just test out the functionality, go back to the beginning of the video and look at how I created that sample data set. If you do want to use data, make sure you're scrubbing anything out of it that could be you wouldn't want to share. Basically, if you wouldn't be willing to put it on a page on the website, on a website for everyone to view, don't put it in ChatGPT. I think it's a bit different with the API. Read the privacy policies and stuff like that yourself and travel at your own risk. But at the API, I believe they're not training the model on the data that's going in there. But when it comes to the actual chat interface for ChatGPT, I think they are actually using that to improve their service. So you wouldn't want to use some data that you don't want to get out there in there. Hence why I'm using the sample data. So last bit here. So I wanted to just summarize everything that I went through. Now, what are the top 10 insights? Go through everything that we've learned and just summarize to me the most important things that you think are going to be useful for my marketing strategy. So it came up with this top 10 list. Webinars affect deal value. Web search is affecting conversion rates. Retail and tech are statistically significant in conversion rate. Low conversion in referral and direct mail. There's a persona impact for CROs. There's a big deal size variability, particularly in the tech industry. Retail industry, high deal size. Email campaign, trend. Social media and webinar, MQLs, the top sources for MQLs. And week over week, MQLs, there's variability in the number week over week. So understanding the causes of this variability could help in planning and forecasting. So do you think, if this was actually what you were getting back out of your data and this chat was over the course of like an hour, these are all the type of questions that we're trying to figure out. Like, what are the channels that are working? What personas is our messaging resonating with? what industries are performing the best, and how are there any, interesting correlations or really statistically significant things that we can look at to help us optimize our marketing strategy, optimize our business strategy, optimize our marketing messaging, optimize our sales tactics, and everything that we're doing. So really just interesting use case here, and really powerful, that I think once this gets adopted into different tools where you're okay sharing your data, it's going to be a game changer when it comes to how we do data analysis. So then another cool little function here that I love in ChatGPT is building tables. So now I've got my insights and obviously all of the analysis that I've done throughout the video. I just want a nice table because I'm going to maybe do 10 slides, and I want to be able to have on each slide an action, a reason, data to support the action, and impact. So I just asked it to break it down like this. So now I have my actions. So each of those insights is broken those down into an action. So invest more in webinars, improve SEO, prioritize retail and technology, optimize email campaigns, understand causes of variability. Like the reason why we have all of those actions on the list, the data to support each of those based on the analysis that I've gone through. And then what would be the impact? Like, is there going to be a high impact to our organization if we do this, low impact, medium? And now you can take this, if this was real data, you would take this, you circulate this with the team, you would bring this up on the QBRs or monthly business reviews or strategy planning meetings or just whatever kind of format and forum to help the business make decisions. And imagine a world where we have tools like this at our fingertips. We go into Salesforce as a chat interface that we can just do this analysis, or whatever BI tool that we have. So each person is able to do their own specific analysis of the data without having to be a data analyst, and then come to the table with the different actions, be able to optimize, see how those things are working, then do that analysis again. Then see if they can get some more feedback and some ideas on how to improve and insights, and then implement that, and then get that back again. It's just going to speed up that development race of how do we get insights and change our business strategy and optimize what we're doing to be able to improve. Because we can just get those insights in minutes. You're not reliant on specific teams to be able to get those insights. In many cases, I still think there's probably it's not going to replace data analysts anytime soon. And I'm not even a data analyst when it comes to my profession. So imagine a data analyst that was really empowered to use this. Like, think of the type of kind of insights and work that they could do, speeding up them to get to the end result, helping them get some shortcuts, being able to do a kind of really complex, deep data analysts at scale, like one data analyst instead of four. Like how many times more work and output can you get out of one person when they're able to just chat to their data and not have to do what we do right now, which is build 12 Salesforce reports and pivot them in certain ways, and then put just 20 reports on a dashboard, and then put some filters, and then train people on that dashboard and say, well, if you want to see it a different way, then click into the report and then try and pivot your data like this, and spend 5 hours trying to understand your data. If you're able to just chat, it's just going to be such a quicker way to get to that result. Caveats are obviously you need good data. Most companies don't. So I would start working on improving your data if you're not already right now, because you don't want to be, if you've got bad data and you're able to get faster kind of insight out of data, and now you're just getting like a quicker supply of bad information because your data is bad, and you're acting on that bad information, it could supercharge, a bad impact. Because if you're just going like, hey, I can get all these insights really quick, and you're relying on this bad data, and you're just making bad decisions because the data is incorrect, that can go bad. So let's get our data in order to prepare for this. Let's make sure that when we are able to talk to our data, the insights that we're getting out are improved. And let's just keep an eye on how this comes out. I already know some companies are working on this. So in the next few months, probably by the end of the year, there's going to be some early prototypes of this working, and maybe some early release features from some of these companies where you can do this. So let's start practicing now. Let's get our data in order, and then let's be ready for when we can really supercharge analytics. Cool. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe, like it, send me a message. I release these videos every single week. I've been getting some feedback on some other videos on what we could be doing next, and I love that. And I want to kind of steer what we're exploring here based on what the audience wants to see. I know everyone's like super busy, but I'm dedicating some time to do a video every week. So kind of it can keep, you up to speed on what's going on without having to do it yourself. So let me know what you want to see or what you'd want to explore. We'll try and get a video out on that, and we'll keep on learning and digging into these features as we go. See you next time.